Everybody, welcome to this week's Hot Take with Boba Fett, episode 4. My first hot take, Phil. We're just gonna go right into it.
All right.
Because why waste time with introductions and all that other stuff, right? This is just hot takes. This is my rambling. This is you listening to me ramble for 15, 20 minutes. This should have been the first episode of the show, right? It should have started here with him finding Fennec, helping her, and you can see them starting the process of looking for his armor. They get the ship back, blah, blah, blah. We're going to go through all this step by step. And then the flashback should have happened interspersed with him referencing the Tuskens, right? And then that's it. And then, we can kind of... Because the way they had set it up is like they have flashbacks that led up to kind of current day, but it was also kind of mingled a little bit too.
Yeah. I feel like, they either could have done that, like kind of intro this and then done a bunch of flashbacks to kind of say how we got there, or not really done flashbacks, just started from the back, right, and build up so that it kind of explains why he is the way he is now. It seems like they kind of went maybe halfway, and I don't know if it was the best way to do it, but in any event, we finally got there.
Yes.
We finally got to the table with the families and stuff like that. That was from the trailer.
Yep, the last scene of the show. So, again, we got a flashback. It starts with him watching Jabba's palace. You see some flashing lights in the sky. He finds Fennec. I had totally forgot that she was part cyborg, or I don't know what they call it. She was modded, I guess.
Yeah, they went to a mod shop, so she was modified. And that flash was what Mando used in, I think it was episode 5 of season 1 to blind Fennec.
So she
couldn't shoot him.
That's what I thought. We're seeing some Mando scenes.
Yeah, it's definitely. The last few episodes have kind of interspersed with that episode 5, which I believe was called The Outlaw.
Right. So now essentially, these things. I just have notes just so I can remember what just happened because we just watched it. My brain doesn't work. And then they have a conversation. And then, Boba mentions, and this is stuff that you were talking about. It's like a turning point in his life. He doesn't want to hunt it. He wants to leave hunting behind, right? And stop. Yeah. He has this whole thing about not working for idiots anymore. He wants to work for himself. The classic entrepreneur speech that you often hear.
Yeah, entrepreneur, but also, he kind of said what he learned from the Tuskens was that he needs, and one thing we did learn in this episode was he was with the Tuskens for several years.
Well, that was another thing. Months. That was kind of odd. I'm fixing my headset. There we go. The way the flashbacks looks like he was with the Tuskens. He got rescued. He stayed with them for a while, maybe a year, right? And we knew there was a 5-year period between Return of the Jedi and Mando timeline. So I guess he really was with the Tusken Raiders for 5 years because this flashback from this episode was just basically Mando season 1 timeline.
Yeah.
So that was it.
So, he learned from the Tuskens that he needs his own tribe. He doesn't want to just be a loner who works for somebody else.
Yep. So then he gets his ship back, and they kind of do that whole scene, which is a cool little scene. And then,
which obviously a little note is he refers to it as the fire spray or his fire spray gunship, not what it's previously been known as the Slave One, which they're not using that name anymore.
Right. So. I'm just saying that's more of a PC thing than a Star Wars.
Yeah. Although somebody actually noted that it never actually was called the Slave One ever on in any films or anything like that. It's just like that's what the toy was called.
Right.
So it's not like he ever used to call it something else.
Right. So and then at this point, right where they're blasting off or they're taking off. This is right before the scene where they gun down the biker gang.
The speeder gang. Yeah.
Yep. It's like this is where the show sort of should have started episode 1. Like this would have been a perfect opening. Like it's Boba Fett not being a bubbling idiot, not knowing what he's doing. It's him taking off with a ship, some badass kind of scene, him firing, that's cool action, right? Him sneaking. Yep. This is what you imagine Boba Fett being. Awesome warrior, brave, fearless, that type of thing. And not kind of opening it with him not knowing what he's doing, being a crime lord type of thing, which kind of really takes away from his character, I thought. So he finds out Fennec is kind of just I'll stay for the ride. So what do you think is the motivation behind Fennec to there's the obvious, right? She's tired of people getting her killed and all this other stuff. Do you think she's just she takes a risk and just all right, let's go do this? Or
I think I mean, I don't have any reason to think it's more than just her, getting Boba's point of view. I mean, she's just been hired by different sides. She was with the Imperials for a bit. I think they're special intelligence officer or something like that. And then, I mean, if we saw in the Bad Batch, she was, hired to hunt a kid and stuff like that. And so maybe she's just like, you know what? He's got a point. Like, enough of this. Let's see what we could do if we were in charge.
because obviously he knows who she is, right? She has a reputation, and she knows his name too. So there's some mutual respect there, which I thought was kind of interesting. You could kind of, for me personally, like you could believe the backstory for Fennec, like here's an assassin, blah blah blah. You can kind of imagine that. It's kind of hard to imagine for whatever reason, like this huge notoriety for Boba Fett, because it was kind of his upbringing is so cartoonish, and like with the whole clones, it's kind of tied into like he should have been just a bounty hunter. I mean, that's this is my prequel hate going on here. Like that should never have been tied in. That's kind of ridiculous. But in any case, I think it would have been better overall for Star Wars if his history wasn't tied into him being like a kid and fighting rebels or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the only thing relevant is he never really had his own persona. He never really chose a path besides, I guess, revenge for his dad dying and stuff like that. But he kind of just wanted to be his dad.
Yep.
And now I guess he's okay. Now it's time for me to kind of pick something else. But.
Yeah, and I thought that was pretty good. So he goes on a little revenge tour, which is pretty cool. We mentioned he went after the bikers, and you mentioned it's nice that it's just like it was just a quick scene. Like, yep.
It wasn't like he didn't stop to talk to them and give a little speech or anything like that. He just comes up in his ship and just shoots them all,
and then flies away.
Yeah,
like okay. Even you wasted munitions to like get the leader with with a rocket. I thought that was kind of a nice touch. Then he goes to the Sarlacc, looks for his armor. Now, here's my question. I mean, I thought the whole scene with the Sarlacc was pretty cool. I'm like, okay, these things are pretty strong, pretty awesome. Yeah. And they almost lose the ship, but they get away. Can't find his armor. Now, I imagine, and then he mentions, was it part before or after he woke up where he says you can't go far with a tribe? I'm imagining it's right before he wakes up from the back to tank, right? That was the last message he said. You mentioned before. So he's kind of realizing, he's he already negotiated with Fennec. She's staying for the ride. He's starting to think, I got to build my own team. He's like a two-man show at this point. And then he wakes up from the back to tank, and the droid says, congratulations, you're fully healed. I'm assuming that's the end of the flashbacks now at this point, right? Because
I would think so, yeah.
What's the point? We know what happens next, right? Finds the armor.
Well, we went through that in season 2 of Mando with Cab Vanth had gotten it from the and then he got it from him and that sort of thing. So
everything's backfilled at this point, right? So we're all caught up from the moment in Return of the Jedi where he gets swallowed in the Sarlacc to current day. Okay, so now we go to current day. It's like a quick little thing. He goes into town. We see, am I saying this right? Chrysanthemum?
Yeah,
right?
Black Chrysanthemum. Yep.
Chrysanthemum. Oh, there's a T in there. I was rooting for him to pull off the arms because from the line from Star Wars, like you pull your arms out of your sockets, right? When Han Solo, so like yes, we're gonna see him actually pull some arms out, and we saw one arm go out. I was hoping it was just gonna be like and like the body
just the one
down.
But it seemed a lot like A New Hope, right? When Obi-Wan cut the guy's arm off, and then the bar just goes back to like no big deal.
That's a good point. It rhymes. It's like poetry. I like it. And then we get to the trailer meeting. Chrysanthemum, I'm assuming, is now joining his gang, right?
Whether it's the same setup as with Fennec, or if he's more hired him as a hired gun, I don't know. But yeah, he's part of his group now.
Maybe there's some Wookiee like life debt type of thing, but with actual money at this point, right? I don't know, because he's a gladiator. I thought that was awesome because that was such a waste of a character, right? Like, if there's ever any more Boba Fett shows, like now you've introduced this character into pop culture, and like, why would you not have this awesome Wookiee running around like pummeling
especially
people?
Once you made it into a second episode, it's like, okay, this is more than just like a little fun nod to the people who read the comics and stuff like that. Once he was in the second episode, it's like, all right, now he's going to be a big character.
Yeah, I mean, like, even if do we know if there's going to be more Boba Fett? Because I assume that this is a one-off kind of.
They haven't
show, right?
said there will be, but they haven't explicitly said it's only one. I guess it kind of sees where it goes, and then what happens in Mando season 3. And
Right.
stuff.
So I mean, I can imagine we might not see Book of Boba Fett chapter 2, volume 2, whatever
Yeah.
it is, right? But maybe these characters will probably make an appearance on all the other shows.
Exactly.
Point, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, if this was going to be a long series show like Mando season 1, 2, and 3, this is kind of like that character could be like a Baby Yoda character. Not like everybody loves Baby Yoda type of thing, but a character that like starts selling its own merch type of thing. Because it's I think it's probably the best character on the show right now. As far as like it's new, it's exciting, it's whatever. So I hope we see more of him to like kind of flesh him out a little bit more, because they're really building him up. Because the owner of the club, I don't remember her name, started trying to like prevent him from ripping his arms off, right? And told his story, right? We got his background in a nice little kind of clever way. So we're like, aha, this is a guy. I wasn't sure where the arena was, but I guess it was on Tatooine, because I'm assuming because she's famous. He's famous on that planet.
Well, he's famous in the universe. There was a whole thing
okay.
with gladiators and stuff like that. So it was I don't think that was on Tatooine. It was just a famous gladiator. It was like a whole big thing.
Because she seemed, I guess, I mean, we just haven't really seen that many galaxy-wide famous people, right? Because Star Wars has always been kind of regional type of thing, and like galactic stuff is kind of, or star system.
Or it's just like, oh yeah, we've like a myth or the legend of this or something like that, but not like
the internet today. Like somebody that's famous in like Korea, be like, okay, well that's a famous Korean person. We know that person. Yeah. Star Wars doesn't feel interconnected with like a singular galaxy-wide network type of thing. So we finally get the family with the gangsters. The Rancor is down there, so we're definitely going to see the Rancor.
Yep.
Hope probably in the next episode. He's going to be riding him. He's definitely going to be fighting on his Rancor back, I guess, whatever you want to call it. A couple different things at the end was the neutrality. I wrote immediately, neutrality is never going to work, but Boba Fett then just said, I don't really trust him, but whatever.
Yeah, so we'll definitely see what happens. I mean, it's kind of setting up for them to maybe side with him, or maybe one of them to turn on him, or something like that. Yeah,
one's going to turn on him. He's going to utterly destroy him, and then with magic, like Fennec's going to go in there, and they're going to kill like everybody with like 2 people and a Rancor and a Wookiee, I guess now, right? and the biker gang's going to help him get away. Yeah, and then the other 3 are going to like. So he's going to probably learn how to rule with respect and a little bit of fear.
A little bit of fear.
You always have to
I want people to be afraid of how much they love me.
Yes, exactly. The last mention of the show is like Boba Fett's like, oh, I need more muscle. Well, no, duh. I'm saying that nicely at this point. So he's like, and Fennec's like, well, if you have credits, you could always find muscle if you know where to look. So where do you think that's, because that's going to be what happens next, right? It was like, oh, well, she knows something.
Yeah. The big clue is right after she says that, it breaks right into the Mando theme song.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah. So the implication is that she's going to reach out to Mando and he'll come help, whether it's just him, whether it's with Bo-Katan and all them that, where she left them on the ship.
I don't know. I mean, like, do you think it's Mando specifically or just Mandalorians in general?
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, it was definitely Mando's theme. So whether he comes or she reaches out to him and it's other Mandalorians, but which would make sense, right? With Boba Fett being a Mandalorian, that others would come.
Now, from an overall story arc point of view, right? So the last 3 episodes, right? 3 more episodes?
There's 3 more, yeah. This was episode 4 and there's 7 total.
Yeah. So we have the Mandalorian. Let's say he comes back next episode, right? The contact. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's just a contact and he shows up second to last episode, whatever, right? They probably need an episode to set up the war, an episode of the war, and an episode of them finishing up and kind of ending the things.
Yeah, see where it goes from there, setting up the future.
Now, do you think then this sets up Mando season 3?
I think so. I think whether it's, or at least influences it. I think that, we'll know a bit more the direction of season 3 of Mando, because we really know nothing, right? It just ended with Luke taking Grogu, and that was it, right? Yes. So we have no idea what was going to happen. So I think this will give a little bit of direction to Mando.
So you've got Mando, you've got Bo-Katan, you've got who else was on that bridge? You've got the what's his name from the officer.
Oh yeah.
You got the Darksaber kind of storyline just waiting to be explored. So can they go right back to normal doing some like mercenary stuff with the Darksaber, or do they immediately have to like figure that out? That's the only thing.
That's the big thing. I mean, those are the big questions that are left. He has the Darksaber. Obviously, Bo-Katan still wants it, but needs to beat him in battle or whatever. So who knows what's happening with that? Whether they address that here or I don't know.
I'm trying to think. Who was part of the I mean, I've watched the end scene like a million times.
There's a
Mandalorian, Bo-Katan,
Cara Dune.
Cara Dune.
There's Sasha Banks' character who was with Bo-Katan.
Right. Did she have one or two companions?
So only and in the first time she appeared, she had two.
Right.
She had the female and the male, but at the end, it was just Sasha Banks' character.
So I could see them just like being pretty like if I was
and then whatever they did with Moff Gideon.
Right.
So.
I mean, who knows? I can imagine like Mando season 3, just them. Oh, we had split up. We went our separate ways. We're starting a new story now, right?
Yeah.
And not like picking up directly after that. So this should be interesting if they try to start, blending all this stuff together.
I mean, it's all supposed to be in the Mandoverse, right? I mean, it's this. There's the New Republic, so with the Rangers of the New Republic. There's the Ahsoka show. It's all, and not that they all need to be super intertwined. But
that's what I'm saying, right?
But they're all kind of the same timeline, so they could be intertwined, or at least a little bit.
I fully expected them being referenced, right?
Yeah.
Kind of coming in and out. But like if Mando season 2 basically led right up to Book of Boba Fett, right? Which just now we're paying attention to what Boba Fett's doing as he sits on the throne. Because we did get a glimpse of him shooting Bib Fortuna and taking over the throne.
Yeah, that was like a post-credit scene.
Right. And then if this leads directly into Mando season 3, it's just a linear thing, right? You can't watch Book of Boba. You would not be able to watch season 3 of Mandalorian without, if it goes this way, you have to watch Book of Boba Fett. Though I don't know if there's anybody that's watched Mando season 2 and then picks up season 3 without watching Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, it can't be that many people, and they probably do a quick recap or
Exactly.
make a 15-minute special, say, hey, what you need to know from season 3 or whatever. But
yeah, so full takes from this episode. This is the middle episode of the season. Flashbacks are gone. That was my biggest complaint. I mean, I'm assuming, right?
Yep.
This was my favorite episode so far. What do you think?
Yeah, it's definitely up there. I liked the last episode a lot too. I thought that was enjoyable. Could kind of introduce the whole mods and stuff like that. I think that was fun. But this one was really good too. Because even in the flashbacks, a lot happened in the flashbacks.
Right.
It didn't focus on any one thing for too long. So yeah, I think it explained a lot. And then we finally got that scene from the trailer with the family. So you kind of feel like, all right, now we're really getting into the meat of what.
Right, because we don't know what happens next, right? We were
exactly.
expecting maybe that meeting might have been like one of the last episodes of him consolidating his power, but this is him moving on.
Yeah.
All right, we've been running a good amount of time. We always like to keep these around 15 minutes. Do we have anything that I missed that you wanted to?
Maybe just a couple little things. One thing, the name of the episode was called "The Gathering Storm," which is the title of a biography about Winston Churchill, how he talks about preparing for war and stuff like that.
Oh,
so
that's
it's kind
interesting.
So it's kind of fitting and kind of gathering all your supplies and resources and stuff like that. And then maybe the only other thing I'd mention was when they go to the mod shop, the guy who does the surgery or whatever, the actor's name is, or he's known as Thundercat. That's a musician. He's a famous bass player, and actually the bass line that's playing during that scene, he wrote.
Oh, well, that's pretty neat.
So just a little. That was a fun scene, I thought. So
Here's me is like I have totally forgot that we had seen Fennec in her innards in a previous Mandalorian.
Yeah, it
episode.
was Mando season 2 when he finds him again, and Mando's like, wait, I thought you were dead, and then she opens up her stomach, and that's what it's just like a quick little thing.
I think I
Just
remember that now that you're reminding me that. So that I was like, oh yeah, I didn't know that. I was like, and I'm like, I was afraid to be embarrassed, to be like, were we supposed to know that was a thing? But I think it's not really important overall things. I'm now, because this is the first time I saw it. I was out all day, so I'm gonna go watch all the YouTubes episodes of telling me what really I'm supposed to think about these things.
I didn't get into like all the different names of the droids and stuff. Like there's a fun with the chef droid and stuff like that. They all have names and everything. So
I don't need any.
There's a lot of details about that. So.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching and listening, and we'll be back this weekend with our weekly show. And until then, have a good one, guys. Catch you later.
Take care, bud.